Welcome back to OmniUpdate, where we bring you the strategic geopolitical analysis that the mainstream media consistently ignores. Today, we are looking directly at America's backyard, at a developing crisis that threatens to fundamentally rewrite the rules of global trade and directly challenge United States naval dominance. For over a century, the Panama Canal has stood as the ultimate symbol of American engineering and geopolitical foresight. It is the vital artery connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, a critical maritime choke point that handles hundreds of billions of dollars in international cargo every single year. But today, this engineering marvel is dying. A combination of severe, prolonged droughts and an aging infrastructure is literally drying up the canal, bringing global shipping traffic to an agonizing crawl. But while Washington looks away, distracted by conflicts in Eastern Europe and the Middle East, a massive, silent threat is emerging just a few hundred miles to the north. Beijing has been watching the slow collapse of the Panama Canal, and they are moving to execute a $50 billion master plan to bypass it entirely. Today, we are diving deep into the massive Chinese-backed Nicaragua Canal megaproject and analyzing how this strategic maneuver could grant China absolute control over the Western Hemisphere's most important trade route. To understand the sheer magnitude of this threat, we first have to understand the catastrophic reality currently unfolding in Panama. The Panama Canal does not operate on seawater. It relies entirely on a complex system of freshwater locks, fed primarily by the artificial Gatun Lake. Every time a single ship passes through the canal, millions of gallons of fresh water are flushed out into the ocean. Historically, the region's massive rainfall easily replenished this lake. But over the last few years, unprecedented shifts in weather patterns have triggered a devastating drought. Gatun Lake is drying up at an alarming rate. In response, the Panama Canal Authority has been forced to drastically slash the number of ships allowed to pass through each day. They have also implemented severe weight restrictions, forcing cargo ships to offload thousands of tons of goods just to avoid scraping the bottom of the canal. The result is an absolute logistical nightmare. Massive traffic jams of cargo ships, sometimes numbering in the hundreds, are anchored for weeks waiting for permission to cross. For the United States economy, this is a slow-moving disaster. Nearly 40% of all U.S. container traffic passes through the Panama Canal. It is the primary route for shipping grain from the Gulf of Mexico to Asia, and the cheapest way to move manufactured goods from Asian factories to the heavily populated American East Coast. As shipping delays stretch from days into weeks, the cost of maritime freight is skyrocketing. Companies are being forced to route their massive container ships around the perilous southern tip of South America, adding thousands of miles and massive fuel costs to their journey. This logistical chaos is a direct catalyst for inflation. Every delay, every drop of extra fuel burned, and every massive toll paid is ultimately passed down to the American consumer at the grocery store and the gas pump. The Panama Canal is choking, and the U.S. supply chain is suffocating along with it. This is exactly where the Chinese Communist Party saw an unprecedented geopolitical opportunity. For over a decade, Beijing has been quietly laying the groundwork for a massive alternative. Enter the Nicaragua Canal project. The plan is breathtaking in its scale. It proposes carving a massive, deep-water trench straight across the nation of Nicaragua, connecting the Caribbean Sea to the Pacific Ocean. This new canal would be significantly wider and deeper than the Panama Canal, perfectly designed to accommodate the modern superships that are currently too massive to fit through Panama's aging locks. Originally pitched years ago by a mysterious Chinese billionaire, the project was officially dismissed by Western analysts as a pipe dream, an unrealistic fantasy that would never secure funding. But the geopolitical landscape has shifted dramatically, and Beijing's Belt and Road Initiative is now firmly planted in Latin America. Over the last few years, the authoritarian regime of Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega has aggressively pivoted away from Washington and aligned itself directly with Beijing. In late 2021, Nicaragua officially severed its diplomatic ties with Taiwan, declaring absolute allegiance to the One China policy. The reward from Beijing was immediate and massive. China began pouring billions of dollars into Nicaraguan infrastructure, upgrading deep water ports, modernizing airports, and establishing heavily secured telecommunications networks. Military analysts and intelligence agencies are now warning that the Nicaragua Canal project is no longer a dead corporate venture, but a highly classified, state-backed strategic imperative for the Chinese government. If Beijing successfully finances and constructs the Nicaragua Canal, the geopolitical implications for the United States are nothing short of catastrophic. Since the establishment of the Monroe Doctrine in 1823, the United States has violently opposed any foreign superpower establishing a significant military or strategic foothold in the Western Hemisphere. The Panama Canal gave the U.S. absolute control over two oceans. The Nicaragua Canal would effectively hand that control over to the Chinese Communist Party. China would not just be building a waterway, they would be building sovereign Chinese infrastructure right in America's strategic backyard. We must look at the military and naval implications of this mega-project. A Chinese-owned canal in Central America is not just about moving cheap electronics or grain. It is about power projection. Currently, if the Chinese Navy wants to move its expanding fleet of aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines from the Pacific into the Atlantic to threaten the American East Coast, they have to take long, easily monitored routes. A deep-water canal in Nicaragua, completely out of the jurisdiction of the United States or its allies, would provide the People's Liberation Army Navy with a high-speed, heavily protected transit corridor. It would allow Chinese warships to operate with impunity in the Caribbean Sea. Furthermore, massive infrastructure projects under the Belt and Road Initiative always include dual-use facilities. The deep-water ports built at either end of the Nicaragua Canal would inevitably serve as forward operating bases for Chinese intelligence gathering, satellite tracking, and naval resupply. Washington is currently trapped in a massive strategic bind. They cannot simply order Panama to make it rain, and digging a new parallel canal in Panama would take decades and hundreds of billions of dollars they do not want to spend. Meanwhile, the administration's aggressive sanctions against the Ortega regime in Nicaragua have only pushed the country further into the waiting arms of Moscow and Beijing. By trying to isolate Nicaragua politically, the United States has accidentally created the perfect environment for China to establish a massive strategic beachhead. The battle for control of global trade is no longer just happening in the South China Sea or the Strait of Hormuz. It is happening right now, just south of the U.S. border. As the waters of the Panama Canal continue to recede, the shadow of Chinese influence over Central America is growing longer and darker. If the United States does not wake up and counter this massive geopolitical maneuver, they may wake up in a decade to find that the keys to the global economy and the security of their own coastlines have been handed over to their greatest adversary. We will continue to track the maritime data, the satellite imagery over Nicaragua, and the massive financial movements coming out of Beijing. This is a defining conflict of the 21st century, fought not with missiles, but with concrete, excavators, and debt traps. We want to hear your thoughts on this massive shift in global power. Is the Panama Canal doomed to become obsolete? And should the United States take aggressive action to stop China from building a massive mega project in Central America? Let us know your brilliant analysis in the comments below. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to OmniUpdate, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our deep dive intelligence reports. Thank you for watching, stay vigilant, and we will see you in the next update.